So here we're going to do 3 examples rapid fire. We're still using average rate of change, so we're still finding the slope between 2 points. We're just not given a graph anymore. So here my interval is from 3 to 7, so that would mean I want to do f of 7 minus f of 3 over 7 minus 3. Or the order could be switched around. It does not matter. You could put 3 first on top and bottom as well. So my average rate of change then is f of 7 is 22 minus f of 3 is 6 over 7 minus 3, which would give me 4 on the bottom, and minus 6 is 16 on top. So I get 4 is my average rate of change. You could call it AROC for average. So that's my first example. So no, it's the exact same math you were doing before with the graphs, just presented a different way. This formula is exactly the same. Again, it's y2, y1, x2, x2, x1. Then, looking at our next 2 examples, so notice I can ask you the same question 2 different ways. So average rate of change from our equation, or I can ask you for the slope of the secant line. Find the slope of the secant line is what it says down here. Average rate of change is what it says up here. The secant line, as we discussed on the previous page, is a line representing average rate of change between 2 points. So these mean the exact same thing. So these are the same. And if you know what a secant line is, that should be clear. Okay, so here's my interval. So I want to do g of negative 7 minus g of 1 over negative 7 minus 1. And I'll show you how I'm plugging this in, although I don't think you guys need to see this. So it'd be negative 7 squared plus 5 times negative 7 plus 3 on top. And then minus 1 squared plus 5 times 1 plus 3. So this is g of 7, g of 1, and then on the bottom, negative 7 minus 1 is negative 8. And then you could evaluate this on your calculator. You could do it in a number of ways. You could type them in separately and then subtract the results, or you could carefully type in this whole expression up here. Regardless, what you should get is 8 on the top over your negative 8 on the bottom, which means my average rate of change is negative 1. So make sure you can get your calculator to spit out those numbers correctly. Remember, you need the negative around the parentheses around the negative to square it correctly. And just double check that your result is the same as mine. And then for my last one, my slope of my secant line means the same thing, average rate of change. And it gives my interval. And I'm going to put 4 first, although it does not matter. F of 4 minus f of negative 3 over 4 minus negative 3. And we're going to solve it the exact same way as we did before. I'm not going to show my plugging in this time because you guys should be able to do that at this point in your math career. I get 4 squared plus 4 is 20 for f of 4 minus negative 3 squared plus 4 is 13 for f of 3. Then I get 7 over 7. So my slope of my secant line, which is the same as my average rate of change, is 1. So that's it. So notice that even though these problems look different, I literally solved them exactly the same way.